Hey everyone, I am Platinum Jewel. Welcome to Hey You, It's Me. Every week I have a new special guest, and today is no different. I'm going to go ahead and allow my guest to introduce herself. Hello, guest. A
Hey,
special
you,
guest.
it's me.
I love it. I love it. A special guest. Thank you so much for coming on my show. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, Jewel. Thank you for having me. My name is
Absolutely.
Ly'chel Carmichael. I am a multifaceted entrepreneur. I believe in that there's never enough income that you can have, baby. So there's definitely different ways you can diversify your income, and I do that through my beauty industry, where I have several beauty lines that has to do with just releasing your inner beauty and feeling connected to your inner self, whether that's through your hair, through your skin, and through the cosmetics that you wear every single day. And then I also am a chef, and it's called Food by a Goddess as well, where I try to embrace my culinary arts. I started cooking when I was 5 years old. I took my love for cooking and I fused that with African American, and Caribbean cuisine. I was trying to combine all the three of those words together.
I
I
see,
was
but
you
that's
know, my
okay because
brain
I knew
wanted to
where you
create
were
a whole
going.
new culinary section of food. But I take African American traditional dishes and infuse some Caribbean infused there. My mom's side is from the Bahamas and my dad is traditionally African American. And so we grew up with a very eclectic palette of the things that we would eat. And so
Mhm.
now I share the love of that and just bringing joy in families and friends with food. It's just something that we've always done in my family. So that's kind of what I've been doing. And then finally, I am also a brand and marketing strategist. I started my first business at 18 and I have been an advisor to many different businesses and companies since then. And so I take my educational perspective because I am an educator by heart and by trade and by degree, but I use that also in business and architecture. And now I have a love for IT. And so we're doing AI automation. So the world has been grand and great.
Look at you. Take a breath. That was a lot, but I love it. I love the passion that you have, the drive. You and
Mhm.
I are strangers.
We are,
We are
but I feel like we're sister friends.
absolutely, and we met through social media. I
Hmm.
wanted someone to be a guest because I feel that it's not always you having to know a person. I like to meet new people, so, of
Hmm.
course, I offer my platform to any and all, shape, size, colors, whatever, your background, that's exactly what this platform is for, and when I put it out there and you said, "Hey, I'd like to be a guest," and I was like, "Well, hey,
Yes.
you."
I
This
know, right?
this is
I
gonna
love the
be great.
concept. The concept really drew me, and I was like, "Oh, that's something I would love to do and be a part of." I really think that you have a really strong mission, and even though it
Thank you.
seems like it's small, it's a mission. It's a
Thank
healing mission that you have, and it's a true gift. So anytime I can be a part of that, I'm ready to jump on in.
Listen, I appreciate you for saying that. That touches me. My heart fluttered when you said it, so I sincerely appreciate that.
You're
It's
welcome.
in my head, it seems small, but the feedback that I'm getting is great, and so I'm all for it, and whatever I can do for you, just let me know. But
Thank
at
you.
this moment, I've invited you on my platform to write
Hmm.
a letter to your inner child. I gave you that challenge, and you accepted the challenge.
You did, and I did accept it. It was interesting, to say the least. I had to dig down deep, and it was even a little bit more interesting because I don't know how far you wanna get into this, but I did
Yeah,
lose a
let's
part of
pause.
yeah,
I wanna pause
'cause
on how
it was
interesting
hard
it
to do
got.
this, and we'll talk about why this was so difficult. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely, but at this moment, what I'll do, I like to go back in my zone and, give you the floor, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn my camera off. I'm
Alright.
gonna give you your space to go ahead and speak to your inner child, and here you go.
Okay, here we go. Dear little one, the one with bright eyes, the boundless imagination, the curiosity that could light up a whole room, I call you forth. I remember you. I honor you. I speak to you with a reverence revered for the ones who kept the flame alive. Before the world touched you, you were wonder in motion. You were laughter without fear. You were expectation, a possibility, and joy wrapped in a small, brilliant body. You saw magic everywhere in colors, in stories, in the way people moved. You were vivacious, curious, and unashamed of your light. And then life came too fast. You were asked to grow before your time, to be a parent when you were still a child, to carry responsibilities that was never meant for such small shoulders, to protect others when no one protected you, to swallow your softness so the house could stay standing. School didn't save you either. It wounded you in places no one could see. Emotionally, socially, spiritually, you were misunderstood, mislabeled, overlooked. You learned to shrink your brilliance so wouldn't be punished for it. You learned to silence your curiosity so you wouldn't be mocked for it. You learned to hide your wonder so it wouldn't be taken from you. But even then, you rose, you danced, you acted, you recreated roles inside yourself when the outside world felt unsafe. You kept your imagination alive like a secret garden no one could ever trample. You held on to joy like it was oxygen. You carried the essence of who we were meant to be, even when everything around you tried to snuff it out. And then, when trauma came for your mind, when the injury tried to steal your intelligence, your clarity, your confidence, you rose again. You rebuilt, you relearned, you reclaimed, you whispered, "We're not done." And you carried me through every storm. You carried me my entire life. Every obstacle I overcame, you were the strength behind it. Every moment I rose, you were the breath in my lungs. Every time I felt my brilliance again, it was because you refused to let it die. You kept the light on when everything tried to put it out. So I thank you. I thank you for never abandoning me. I thank you for protecting me. The parts that the world tried to break. I thank you for holding on to innocence, curiosity, and expectation. The very things that became my power. Thank you for showing up when I could have let you down. Thank you for carrying the vision of who we could become. I've got you now. You don't have to be the strong one anymore. You don't have to carry the weight alone. Your wonder is safe with me. Your softness has a home now. Your brilliance is honored, protected, and free. Baby, I choose you. I honor you. I will never silence you again. You are the reason I became the woman I am today. The woman yesterday you dreamed of, pray for, and baby, you deserve. Your light carried me through every darkness. And now, finally, I carry you. Love, Ly'chel.
Wow. Ugh, I'm tearing up again.
Girl, try not to cry. Yeah. Thank you for allowing me to do that.
Absolutely.
Jesus. Okay.
I'm sick today, so Imma blame it on me being sick.
Yeah, girl, I got a cold too. We both got the middle.
We're gonna blame it on being sick today.
Mhm. Mhm.
But your letter was beautiful.
Thank you.
Where's my darn tissue? I have no idea. Your letter was beautiful. A few things I definitely wanna talk about in your letter.
Mhm.
Goodness, I don't like this. I only have a little I'll have to edit this. Oh, goodness. Okay. Whew. All right, Lachelle. Let's see. What were you talking about? Because now I'm all over the place. You spoke about to be a parent as a child.
Yeah.
That right there is deep. Tell me a little bit about that. How did that have an effect on your inner child? I mean, you saying that. I don't know if you're comfortable with saying how old you were
Oh,
when you had a child, but tell
yeah,
me a
so
little
I
bit
didn't
about
have a child. What happened was I didn't have a kid. I had siblings, and my parents I came from a two-parent home that had to work in a middle-class environment. And so they had to work long hours, and it put a
Yes.
financial strain on the family because my parents wanted to give us the best. We lived a very good middle-class life, and it wasn't affordable. You know, it was expensive, and they had kids, and they took in children that were not theirs.
Mm,
And in order to combat them not being home, I had to pick up the bar. Someone had to be responsible. And I've had two older siblings that that could have been responsible. Just life for them was just different. You know, someone did become an early teenage mom and had to leave the home to raise their child. And then
gotcha.
my other sibling was emotionally just not available to do the things that needed to be done. So at an early age, at like 5 and 6, I mean, I literally was a latchkey kid at 5. So I would walk to
Mm,
kindergarten and then I would go and pick up my brothers from daycare. And then I would come home and then I start cooking dinner and I would start getting things. I was the most responsible one that my parents could depend on. And that really took away my innocence as a child in multiple ways. I felt like my innocence as a child was just completely snatched from me early on, just
mm.
completely ripped from me. I never had a chance at innocence ever. I
I'm so
had to be
sorry.
accountable and responsible for little people's lives.
And if you're saying at 5, you're cooking and you're no wonder you're a chef. You have years of experience.
I do.
But to even if that wasn't a child you actually birthed, you
Mhm.
having that responsibility as a child, people do not understand how that feels. I'm the oldest of 8, so
Mhm.
I can speak on
Woo!
how much of a I had a daughter, my daughter at 18.
Mhm.
People don't realize 18 is technically still a teenager, so even though I'm
Right.
grown and I'm legal in a sense,
You're still so young.
I was still so young, but also even prior to having my own child, having that responsibility, it does take away a certain
Mhm.
level of innocence for you because
It
you're
does.
a child and a child should be playing and having fun. And I wasn't into dolls or anything like that, but just not having that responsibility. So I can see why you seem so very mature and well put together.
Yeah.
Your whole package, your whole aura, I get that. That now I can understand why you saying that, being a parent to children at such a young age. Now
Yeah.
you also spoke about trauma from an injury.
Mhm. Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Woo. So when I was about 15 years old, I was living in New Jersey. We go ahead, New Jersey, and we used to have something called milk bars. And so these were teenage clubs.
Uh-huh.
And while I was in a milk bar, my cousin and them they got into like a big fight, and it just got completely out of hand. And people started rushing and running towards the exits. As I was trying to exit too as well, I got trampled. And so I'm really small. I'm only 5 foot tall. And at the time, I probably was like 4'9", 4'11". I wasn't even. I grew a little bit after that. So I was teeny. Okay. And I got trampled. And I remember people rushing over me, like just footsteps, just being walked and ran over by people literally on the floor. And as I was like doing an army crawl to try to get to the exit, I had seen a young man that I had danced with earlier, and he was very frisky and touched me in a way that was inappropriate. And I kind of pushed him like away, like, don't, this is my body. You can't touch me like that. And I
Mhm.
remember him seeing me and was like, you dumb B, whatever. And he kicked me in my face. And I just saw blood go this way and I was knocked out. And
Oh,
so then once the police came and everything, it's interesting because I saw myself being carried out, which was weird. And they were really trying to revitalize me. Putting ice around my head, screaming my name, asking me to breathe. My cousins were very upset. They were crying, and I could see all of this. But mind you, when I talked to them, it was like, you were not breathing. Like, how do you know? I was able to describe the EMTs, like everything. So it was traumatic. When I got out of that experience. Well, actually, I had a convulsions and I kind of came back to myself. But when I came back, I didn't know anything. I didn't have a memory of anything.
wow.
Nothing. The doctor tried to explain to my mom, like, she seems like she's lost some of her memory. She might not know who you were. I remember my mom coming in. I didn't know who she was. But eventually, some things came back to me, and so that's why I said this was kind of hard in the beginning. I was like, this was hard for me because it. I have moments in time where I remember my childhood and things that happened and things that's going on. And it was very traumatic for me to relive what I had forgotten. Yeah. So that set me back in school. Well, I was already struggling in school, but I
Mhm.
ended up having to go to like a severe remedial special education classroom. So I was
Oh,
separated from
man.
my friends. I started to get teased. I was getting bullied. I mean, it was just a unique experience, but it was also one that catapulted me right where I needed to be. And it was right in the space of what needed to happen for perfect alignment for my life. So I had that moment. I was struggling in school. I was not a non-reader. I had disabilities that were undiagnosed.
Mm.
So I was doing ninth grade for the third time. I was a little bit of a troublemaker. My mom said I have never been the same way after that incident. It's like she said she felt like she had a completely different daughter. And so when I went into that remedial classroom, I worked with a person one on one who told me everything that I was missing and these gaps that I had academically.
Okay.
Because of that incident, I ended up having to move down to DC with my dad. When you got moved with your dad, you in trouble. But when I went to school and they tested me, I tested college level in every subject area but reading and writing, and they were able to diagnose my disability. And I was able to be back on track with school and graduated with honors on time, and the rest is history.
Back on track.
Back on track. So I was on my way to failing the ninth grade for the third time in a row. My GPA was a 1.23. I had missed over 80 days of school. It was only 190 days in school.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah. Very interesting time period.
Very.
Yeah.
But to see that foundation, you were only 15 when that happened. That I mean, I wanna say that was only 10 years ago, but, I'm being
I
kind.
turned 42 on my birthday, which was
Aw,
February 6th. Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you.
We're still babies, though, isn't that
Yes.
crazy?
Yes.
But
Yeah, people tell me all the time.
to hear your experience, your letter, the trauma, the outcome,
Yeah.
you seem overjoyed where you are now. I feel a good energy from you, and
Thank
I
you.
really wish you nothing but the best. Tell me what you're doing today, though. I know you said are you still being a chef today? Is that something that you're still
Yes.
doing
So I'm doing
currently?
a hybrid of things.
Okay, tell me about those
So
things.
yeah, so I'll just start off like where it ended and where it started, right?
Mhm.
So with my educational career, I was able to go to school, go to college. I became an educator. Became passionate about students who could not learn because I was a child who couldn't learn, and I wanted to understand why couldn't I understand letters? Why couldn't I put together a sentence? Why was I a non-reader? And so I wanted to dedicate my time to early childhood education for early intervention. So I did
Okay.
early childhood education and special education and got all the way up to my master's. So I did daycare, worked myself in PG County public school system, and finally I landed a job in the federal government as a curriculum designer and writer for IT. So thank you. So I became a SMED for education, the girl who couldn't read or write and was
Subject
failing.
matter expert.
Became a
People
subject
don't
matter expert.
understand.
Yes, ma'am.
That is a beautiful thing.
It's amazing. So that's why sometimes like, why do you have so much joy? I have joy because if you knew my life and where I am now, it's amazing. And so even if I don't need a million, I tell people I'm already rich. I'm already rich. I'm rich with the abundance of life and just how you can seem to be on one path and people can tell you who you are going to be, but then you can turn around and be everything you ever wanted to be. And so I always say, if I don't get another thing, I'm everything I ever wanted to be.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And listen, so this one last question.
Mhm.
If there was anything that you could have changed from the person that you were, from that inner child that you were speaking to, and what age was that again that you were talking to roughly? About
So
what age would
actually,
you say?
probably about 5 or 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from that 5 or 6 little girl, and then you speak of the 10-year-old, anything that you would have done differently or could have done differently, what would
Y
that be? Just one thing, if any.
I would've told her to hold on to her imagination.
Hold on to your imagination. Do you imagine now? Are you a dreamer?
I'm a big dreamer. I always was a dreamer. Even as a kid, I had big dreams,
Love
and
it.
then there was a point where I allowed life situations to snuff them all out, and then I had no dreams, and
Mm,
I was very negative, and I was very just in a dark, deep, suicidal pit, but it wasn't until I rediscovered my imagination and walked in an imaginary world that was secure and that was safe for me and was a place that I can reside and abide, everything changed.
listen, well, you keep speaking to those who do not
Yeah.
have that imagination because to see you, Ly'chel, just I feel like I've known you already. We're actually Jersey girls,
Yes, we
so
are Jersey girls. So I think that's why. So we got similar color, we got the hair going on, we got the things.
it may have
It's pink in
something
Jersey all already, right?
it may have something to do with it, but listen, thank you so much for just being on my show, being willing, being open to be vulnerable and digging deep and writing that letter. The letter touched me. My
Thank
eyes
you.
are watering. Let's say I'm gonna blame it on my allergies, but I already know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It was a raw emotion and I appreciate you being here. And if there is anyone else out there that is interested in writing to their please reach out to me just like Lachelle did. When I put that out there to, do you want to be a guest? Lachelle was right on it, and she's one of the first
Mhm.
people that I wanted to interview. So thank you, Lachelle. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you. It's been a pleasure and an honor. Guys, you have been watching Hey You, It's Me. I'm Platinum Jewel, and I thank you again for tuning in.